Most home service businesses look at Google LSA and ask, how much am I paying per lead? And it does matter, I'm not saying it doesn't, but if you only look at cost per lead, you can very easily get the wrong idea. Because two companies can be in the same market paying for the same type of leads, and one of them says LSA is too expensive, while the other one says this is one of our best lead sources. So in this video, I want to show you why that happens, and more importantly, why the lead price is only half the story. Now imagine two companies, same city, same service, same type of customer, both running Google local services ads. Company A says these leads are too expensive, we're paying too much, while company B says no, this is working, we're getting jobs from it. Now the easy explanation is to say, well, maybe Google just likes one company more. But usually the bigger difference is not only what happens inside Google, it's what happens after the lead comes in. Who answers the phone? How fast do they respond? Do they call back missed calls? Do they follow up? Do they ask for reviews? Do they know which leads actually became booked jobs? That is where the difference starts. This is the mistake I see all the time. A business owner looks at the dashboard and says, we paid $80 per lead, we paid $120 per lead, this lead was expensive, that lead was cheap. And again, I understand why. Because cost per lead is easy to see. It's simple, it's clean, it feels like the main number. But here's the problem. Cost per lead tells you what it costs to make the phone ring or get the message. It does not tell you if that lead turned into a booked job, which is the most important thing. And for a home service business, that's the real question. Not just, did we get the lead? The real question is, did we book the job? So the better number to look at is cost per booked job. And I know that sounds simple, but this changes the way you see the whole system. Because you stop asking only how much did the lead cost, and you start asking how much did it cost us to actually book a job from those leads. That is much closer to what you actually want. Because a lead that comes and doesn't book is not really an asset, it's just extra cost for the business. But a lead that turns into a profitable job, that's totally different. That's why two businesses can pay similar lead prices, but only one feels like LSA is expensive and the other feels like it's not working. Make this very simple. Company A gets 10 leads at $80 each, so they spend $800 if my math serves me. But out of those 10 leads, they only book 2 jobs. That means they pay $400 per booked job. Now, company B gets 10 leads at $100 each. So at first, company B looks more expensive, doesn't it? They spend $1,000 instead of $800. But if company B books 5 jobs from those 10 leads, their cost per booked job is now $200. So even if their cost per lead was higher, the real cost per booked job was lower. And this is where a lot of people get confused. They think the cheaper the lead is always the better lead, but that's not always true. A cheap lead that doesn't book is expensive. That's the line I want you to remember. Because you can get a lead for what looks like a good price, but if nobody answers fast enough, or the customer goes to voicemail, or the follow-up is weak, or even if the customer calls 3 companies and you're the last one to respond, then that lead becomes very expensive and fast. On the other side, a higher price lead can still be profitable if your team handles it properly, and it turns to a booked job. So when someone says my LSA is expensive, the first thing I want to know is expensive compared to what? Expensive per lead, expensive per booked job, because those are not the same thing. So what actually makes LSA feel expensive? Usually it's not just one thing. It can be missed calls, and this is huge for home services because if someone has a leak, no heat, no power, a broken garage door, they're not waiting for around forever. They call the next company. It can be slow callbacks. Even a good lead can go cold if you call back too late. It can be weak follow-up. A lot of companies call once, maybe leave a voicemail, and then that lead is basically gone. It can be low review velocity, because reviews don't just help trust, they also affect how strong your profile looks against competitors. That's super important. It can be poor tracking. If you don't know which leads became real book jobs, you can't really know what is working. It can also be the wrong job mix. Maybe you're just getting leads, but not the type of jobs you actually want more of. So before blaming the platform completely, it's worth checking the system around the leads. Okay, this part is very important. The first 5 minutes after a lead comes in can change everything. And I'm not saying that every single customer books with the first company that answers. But in home services, speed matters a ton. If someone sends a message or calls because they need help now, and your business responds 30 minutes later, 1 hour later, or even the next day, that lead may already be gone. Not always, but most of the time it's already gone. And then what happens? You still pay for the lead, so now the owner says LSA is expensive. But the real problem might be that the business paid for attention and then didn't convert that attention fast enough. That's why response speed, missed call recovery, and simple follow-up can directly affect your real cost per book job. By the way, if you want me to look at your own LSA setup and lead process, I'll put the free diagnostic link in the description. No passwords, no account access. I'll just show you where the biggest leaks are and give you the 2 quick wins you can apply. Here's where a lot of businesses make the problem bigger. They think we need more leads, so let's increase the budget. And sometimes it does work. More budget can make sense, but not before you check the leaks. Because if the process is broken, more leads don't fix it. More leads just make the leak more expensive. If you miss calls with a small budget, you'll miss more calls with a bigger budget. If follow-up is weak with 10 leads, it will still be weak with 30 leads. If you don't know your cost per book job now, increasing spend just gives you more numbers you don't fully understand. So before you spend more, make sure the leads you already have are being handled properly. So, if I was looking at a home service company's LSA system, these are the 5 places I would check first. First, the profile and targeting. Are the services right? Is the service area right? Is the profile strong enough compared to competitors? Second, calls and messages. Are leads being answered quickly? Are missed calls being recovered? Is there a backup person if the first person doesn't answer? Third, follow-up. What happens if the customer doesn't answer the callback? Is there a second attempt? A text? A simple process? Fourth, reviews. Are happy customers being asked consistently? Or is the company just hoping reviews come in naturally? And last but not least, cost per book job tracking. Because if you only track leads, you may think something is working when it isn't. Or you may think something is failing when the real issue is actually lead handling. So the real question is not only how cheap are my leads. That question is too small. The better question is, how many of my leads turn into booked jobs? Because that is the number that tells you whether the system is healthy. A company with slightly more expensive leads but better response speed, better follow-up, better reviews, and better tracking can often beat a company that is only chasing the lowest possible cost per lead. And this is the biggest point. You don't always need more leads first. Sometimes you need to convert more of the leads you're already paying for. That's where a lot of profit is hiding. If you run a home service business and your Google LSA leads feel expensive, I can take a look at your setup. I offer a free 30-minute diagnostic, no passwords, no account access, and it's not a sales call. I'll look at your LSA setup, your lead handling, and the obvious places where leads may be leaking. Then I'll show you 2 quick wins you can apply fast, and if it makes sense to work together after that, we can talk about it. If not, you still leave with useful insights. The link is in the description, and remember, don't only ask how much the lead costs, ask how much it costs to book the job.